In our quiet brick house on the edge of Colorado Springs, my mother disappeared every single Thursday at exactly 2 o'clock in the afternoon for 20 straight years. No exceptions. Rain, snow, Christmas. None of it mattered. She would smooth her coat, kiss my forehead, and say the exact same words every time. "Just taking care of some banking for our future, Claire. Nothing for you to worry about. My name is Claire Hartman. I am 38 years old now, and I have been divorced for 5 years, and I believed her. Why would I not? Mom was the one who held our whole life together after Dad died of cancer 13 years earlier. Those Thursday disappearances became untouchable. She would be gone for 3 hours, sometimes 4, then come home looking drained to the bone, but always wearing that calm little smile. And nobody was ever allowed to ask where she went, who she met, or why she came back, like she had been holding her breath the entire time. After my marriage fell apart, I moved back into the same neighborhood to be closer. Same street, same brick houses, same mountain air that makes everything feel clean even when the truth is not. The routine never changed, not once, until the Thursday that ended everything. I was at my desk when my phone rang. It was Ethan, my younger brother. His voice sounded wrong, hollow, like the sound was coming from the bottom of a stairwell. "Claire, get to Memorial Hospital right now. Mom collapsed at the bank." By the time I burst through the emergency room doors, she was already gone. A massive stroke. The doctor told us it was instant. He said she likely never felt a thing. That was supposed to be a comfort, but it did not feel like one. 3 days after we laid her in the ground, I stood alone in her bedroom, staring at the old safe hidden behind rows of carefully pressed dresses. Years earlier, she had told me the code was my birthday. "Because you are the one I trust most," she had said. "Claire." My hands trembled as I turned the dial and pressed the numbers. The door opened with a soft metallic sigh. Inside was a thick, cream-colored envelope, with my name typed neatly on the front, a small metal key taped to it, and a single sheet of paper written in my mother's unmistakable handwriting. "Only open this when I am no longer here. Please do not hate me." I stood there, frozen, the key biting into my palm, because in that moment I understood something that made my knees weaken. Those 20 years of Thursday afternoons had never been about protecting our future at all. If someone in your family ever vanished on the same day every week, or kept financial secrets that only surfaced after they were gone, you already know how this feels. What I found next shattered everything I thought I knew about the woman who raised me. A plain white envelope appeared in the mailbox one morning while I was sorting through sympathy cards. No return address. Just my name typed clean and precise on the front, Claire Hartman. I tore it open right there on the porch. Inside was a brief letter from the branch manager at First National Bank, offering condolences for my mother's passing and informing me that I was listed as the secondary holder on safe deposit box number 312. The annual fee had been paid through the end of the year, and I could access the box at any time with proper identification and the key. I stared at the letter for a long time. My mother had never once mentioned a safe deposit box, not in all those years. But the small metal key from the envelope in her bedroom suddenly made sense in a way that left my chest tight and my mouth dry. I called the bank immediately. The woman on the line confirmed everything, calm voice. Routine questions. Then she asked when I would like to come in. "Tomorrow morning," I said. That night I barely slept. The house felt unnaturally quiet without my mother's television murmuring from the living room. No familiar footsteps. No soft sounds of her moving through the space she had ruled for decades. I lay awake replaying her Thursday routine again and again, trying to stitch it together with this mysterious box, knowing deep down that whatever waited inside was going to change everything. By morning I was dressed in jeans and a plain sweater. Nothing stylish, just clothes that felt like armor. The North Valley Bank branch sat on the corner of Nevada Avenue about 15 minutes from the house. I parked, took a long breath, and walked inside. The lobby smelled like polished wood and fresh coffee. A manager named Mr. Harland met me at the door, offered his condolences once more, and led me downstairs to the vault. The walls were lined with rows of metal doors, each stamped with a number. He slid the bank key into box 312. I inserted the small key from my mother's envelope. The drawer came free with a soft metallic scrape. Mr. Harland left me alone in the viewing room. I carried the box to the table and lifted the lid. My stomach dropped. The box was packed tight with folders. I pulled out the first one. The label read Home Equity. Inside were loan documents. 3 separate home equity lines of credit taken out against the house over the past 12 years. Each one refinancing the previous loan to pull out more cash. The signatures were all my mother's, neat and familiar. The amounts made my hands tremble. Together, the loans totaled nearly $400,000 in value, far more than the house could possibly be worth now. The next folder was worse. Stock brokerage statements stretching back years, all in my mother's name. Pages and pages of purchases in companies I had never heard of, followed by sharp declines, margin calls, and forced liquidation notices. The final balance showed less than $2,000 remaining after everything had been sold to cover the losses. I kept turning pages. Recent credit reports showed inquiries I did not recognize. A folder marked investments held printouts of high-risk ventures, early-stage tech startups, penny stocks, even digital currency wallets that had completely collapsed. My mother had been chasing bigger and bigger returns, gambling on anything that promised a way out, probably trying to cover the growing debt left behind by my father's old financial mistakes, and every choice she made only pulled her deeper under. But every move she made only dragged her deeper under. There was no joint account information, no retirement savings summary, nothing that resembled the stable future she always talked about. The family checking account statements were buried at the bottom of the box, balances dwindling to almost nothing over the last few years, as automatic payments went out month after month to service all that hidden debt. I sat there for more than an hour photographing every single page with my phone. By the end, my fingers felt numb. When I finally closed the box and stepped back into the hallway, Mr. Harland asked gently if everything was all right. I nodded and thanked him, though my throat felt tight. The drive home passed in a blur. Ethan and Lily were already at the house when I pulled into the driveway. They had started sorting through Mom's clothes and papers, talking about turning her bedroom into a guest room so the house could still feel like home. Cardboard boxes lined the hallway. I set my bag down and spread the printed photos across the kitchen table. The same table where we had eaten thousands of meals together. "We need to talk," I said quietly. Lily looked up first, curious. Ethan glanced over from the living room doorway. I laid the pictures out one by one. The refinance agreements, the brokerage losses, the account summaries showing almost nothing left. "This is what was in the safe deposit box Mom left for me," I said, keeping my voice steady. "The house has been refinanced 3 times. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans against it. The investments she made are gone. All of it." Lily's eyes widened as she picked up a photo of one of the loan documents. Ethan stepped closer, scanning the images. His face hardened. "This cannot be right," he said immediately. "Mom would never do something like this without telling us." "She did," I said, sliding the signature pages toward him. "It is all in her name. She has been handling it alone for years." He shook his head and pushed the photos away. "You are reading this wrong, Claire. Mom was careful with money. She always said she was building something for us. That is what she told us," I said. "But look at the dates. This started right after Dad died and it never stopped growing." Lily stayed silent, staring down at the table. Ethan crossed his arms. "You have always been different, Claire. You moved away. You got married. You barely came around when Mom needed help. Maybe she had to work harder because you were not here like the rest of us." The words hit like a slap. "This is not about whether I was here or not," I said. "This is about the house possibly going into foreclosure if these loans are not paid." Ethan's voice rose. "You are jealous because Mom trusted Lily and me more with the day-to-day things. Now she is gone and you show up with these papers trying to tear her down. Is that it? You want to prove she was not perfect?" I felt the heat rush into my face. "I am not trying to prove anything," I said. "I am showing you what I found. We are all in this together." Lily finally spoke, her voice small and unsure. "Maybe there is an explanation. Mom would not leave us with nothing." Ethan nodded hard. "Exactly. You are twisting this because you have always felt left out. Mom loved all of us, but you made your choices. Do not drag her name through the dirt now that she cannot defend herself." I gathered the photos back into a single folder. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, the walls pressing in. "I am not twisting anything," I said. These are facts. We need to figure out what to do before the bank starts calling. Ethan looked at me with cold eyes. You have always been jealous of how close Mom and I were. Now she is barely in the ground and you are pulling this out to get back at her. At us. Is that what this is really about? I carried the entire metal box home from the bank and set it on the old oak dining table. The table where the three of us used to sit while Mom told stories about Dad's better days. The same table that still held faint crayon marks from when Lily was little. Ethan and Lily were already there, arguing quietly over which of Mom's sweaters to keep and which ones to give away. I did not say anything at first. I simply opened the lid again and pulled out the single sheet of cream-colored paper tucked between two folders, the one written in my mother's unmistakable handwriting. Sit down, I said quietly. There is something else. They exchanged glances, then pulled out chairs. I smoothed the letter flat on the table so they could see the date at the top. 3 months before she died. Then I began to read out loud. To my children, especially Claire. If you are reading this, I am gone and you have seen what I tried so hard to keep hidden. When your father died 13 years ago, he left behind more than grief. He had borrowed against the house to chase stock tips he believed would make us rich. By the time the hospital bills arrived, we were already drowning. I refinanced once to pay them off. Then again to keep the lights on. Then again when the market turned and everything he touched collapsed. Every Thursday for the last 20 years, I drove downtown to meet advisors, brokers, anyone who promised a way out. I believed that if I could just get one good return, I could fix everything before any of you ever knew. I was wrong. The hole only grew deeper. I am so sorry, Claire. I put your name on the box because you are the strongest of my children. You always have been, even when you felt like the odd one out. Please forgive me for what I have done. And please, whatever you do, protect Ethan from the worst of it. He is sensitive. He would not survive knowing his mother failed so completely. He still sees me as the person who held everything together. Let him keep that. I love you all more than you will ever know. Mom. My voice broke on the final line. The kitchen fell into complete silence, broken only by the steady ticking of the clock above the stove. Lily's hand flew to her mouth. Tears spilled immediately, sliding down her cheeks and dropping onto the table as she stared at the letter like it might disappear if she looked away. She stared at the letter as if it might vanish if she blinked. Ethan sat frozen in his chair, jaw-clenched eyes locked on the page. Then he shook his head once hard. That is not real, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Mom would never write something like that. Someone forged it. Ethan, it is her handwriting, I said. You know it is. He shoved his chair back so violently it scraped across the floor. You printed this yourself. You have hated how close Mom and I were your whole life. This is just another way to make her look bad. Lily finally spoke through her sobs. Stop it. Both of you. She was trying to protect us. That is what the letter says. She did not want us to worry. Protect us, I repeated, feeling the anger rise. By lying for 20 years. By putting the house we grew up in at risk of foreclosure. Lily wiped her face with her sleeve. She thought she could fix it. Moms do that. They carry everything so we do not have to. Ethan pointed at the letter still in my hand. If she wanted to protect us, why single me out? Why say I am too weak to handle the truth? That is not Mom. That is you putting words in her mouth. The accusation hit like a punch. She wrote it, Ethan, not me. He laughed sharp and bitter. Right, because Mom spent years telling me I was the one she counted on most. The one who made her proud every single day. And now suddenly, I am the fragile one. Come on. Lily reached across the table and touched his arm. She was scared, Ethan. That is all. She did not mean it like that. But he was no longer listening. He stood up, towering over both of us. You have always resented that Mom and I had something special. When you moved away after college, when you married Mark and barely visited, she leaned on me. And now you come back with this box full of shame and expect us to believe Mom thought I could not handle the truth. His voice kept rising. You are twisting everything. This letter, if it is even real, is just her being tired and sick. You are the one turning it into an attack. I fought to keep my voice steady. I am not attacking anyone. I am reading what she wrote. Lily's crying faded into quiet hiccups. She looked back and forth between us, eyes red and swollen. Maybe we should just put this away for now. Mom would not want us fighting like this. Ethan let out a sharp snort. No, Lily. Claire wants a fight. She wants to be right. She always has. That is not fair, I said, hearing my own voice begin to shake. I am the one who opened the box. I am the one who has to figure out what happens when the bank decides they want their money. Lily reached for the letter, her fingers trembling. She says she loves us. That is what matters. Ethan crossed his arms. Exactly. And love does not write notes calling your own son too weak to handle the truth. The room spun for a moment. She was trying to shield you, I said, my words coming faster now, from knowing she made mistakes. We are not children anymore. Lily looked at me, pleading. Even if Mom messed up, she did it for us. She did not want us to hate her. Can we not just accept that? I stared at both of them. At the little brother who once followed me everywhere, at the little sister who used to copy everything I did. And in that moment I understood something that made my chest ache. We were not looking at the same letter at all. Lily wiped her eyes again, her voice barely a whisper. No matter what she did wrong, she was still trying her best for us. You just want to prove you were right all along. The next morning on a Saturday, my phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Family meeting tonight at the house, 7 in the evening. Be there. No, please. No explanation. Just an order. I knew exactly what it was about. I pulled into the driveway just as the sun slipped behind Pike Peak. The porch light was already on, the same way it had been every evening while Mom was still alive. Lily's SUV was parked beside Ethan's truck. I took a slow breath and walked inside. The living room smelled faintly of Mom's lavender candles. All the sympathy flowers were gone. In their place were framed photographs. Mom smiling beside Ethan at his college graduation. Mom standing proudly next to Lily at her wedding. There were no photos of her with me. Ethan stood near the fireplace, arms crossed. Lily sat curled up on the couch, knees drawn to her chest, clutching a throw pillow like a shield. They both looked up when I entered. Close the door, Ethan said. I did. He did not waste time. We have talked. Lily and I agree. Mom's will is simple. Everything is divided equally between the three of us. The house, the accounts, whatever is left. We are not changing that. I opened my mouth, but he kept going. And we are not going to let you drag Mom's name through whatever story you are trying to build. She is gone. She cannot defend herself. So this ends tonight. Lily finally spoke, her voice soft but steady. You left Claire. You moved hours away. You married Mark. You started your own life. Ethan and I were the ones here every weekend, fixing the roof, mowing the lawn, taking Mom to her appointments. We earned the right to decide how her memory is handled. My chest tightened. This is not about who did more chores, I said. This is about hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt we did not know existed. Ethan stepped forward. According to who? You, the sister who shows up with a metal box full of papers nobody else ever saw. Mom trusted me with everything. She told me where the spare key was, where the good china was hidden, every small detail. She never mentioned money problems even once. Because she was protecting you, I said, echoing the letter none of them wanted to believe. Exactly like she wrote. Lily shook her head. Or maybe she knew you would turn it into a weapon. Ethan reached down, picked up a manila envelope from the coffee table and slid it across to me. Inside was Mom's final will, 2 simple pages notarized 6 months earlier. The house and all remaining assets were to be divided equally among her 3 children. There was no mention of debt, no conditions, no warnings. This is what matters, Ethan said. Not whatever story you cooked up from that box. I did not cook anything up, I replied. The bank records are real. The refinance documents carry her signature. You can hate me all you want, but pretending this does not exist will not make it disappear. Lily's eyes filled again. You always had to be the loud one, she said quietly. The one who questioned everything. Mom used to say you made things harder than they needed to be. The words hurt more than I expected. I am trying to keep us from losing the house, I said. Ethan laughed short and cold. The house you barely visited for the last decade. Spare us the hero act. I looked around the room. At the couch where Mom used to fall asleep watching her favorite game show. At the wall where our heights were marked every birthday until the year I stopped coming home regularly. Everything felt familiar and foreign at the same time. What do you want from me? I asked quietly. Ethan did not hesitate. Leave the copies here. Delete the photos from your phone. Stop talking to lawyers. Stop talking to anyone. We handle this as a family quietly the way Mom would have wanted. Or you walk away now and we handle it without you. Lily added, almost pleading. We just want to grieve in peace. I stared at them. At my little brother who once cried when I left for college. At my little sister who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. And I realized they had already chosen sides. And I was not on it. You are asking me to pretend none of this exists, I said. Ethan met my eyes without blinking. I am asking you to respect our mother. The silence that followed was thick and painful. I reached into my bag, pulled out the flash drive holding every scanned document and set it on the table. Then I took out my phone, opened the photo gallery in front of them and began deleting the albums one by one. The soft clicks sounded louder than gunfire. There, I said. Lily let out a breath she had been holding. She looked relieved. Ethan did not. That is a start, he said. Now go home, Claire, and do not come back until you are ready to act like part of this family again. I walked down the hallway and picked up the small box I had brought with me. A few childhood books. A single framed photo of the four of us at Garden of the Gods taken when I was 16. Nothing else in the house felt like it belonged to me anymore. At the door I turned back. If the bank calls, you do not say I did not warn you. Ethan stood, walked over and opened the door himself. Cold night air rushed in. If you keep speaking ill of Mom, he said, his voice low and hard, then do not ever set foot in this house again. We do not need a sister like you. The door closed behind me with a final quiet click. I stood on the porch for a long time, my keys digging into my palm before I walked to my car and drove away into the dark. I found Laura Bennett's office on Tejon Street. A narrow brick building wedged between a coffee shop and an art gallery in downtown Colorado Springs. Her website said she specialized in estate disputes and identity theft recovery. I booked the first available appointment and walked in carrying the metal box as if it weighed 1,000 pounds. Laura was younger than I expected, early 40s, maybe with sharp eyes behind rimless glasses. She did not interrupt as I spread every document across her conference table. She simply watched, silent and focused, as the truth finally had somewhere safe to land. The 3 refinances, the brokerage disasters, my mother's letter, the credit reports I had pulled myself. When I finished, Laura leaned back in her chair and let out a slow breath. This is parental financial abuse at a textbook level, she said calmly. Colorado law treats identity theft the same way whether it is committed by a stranger or by a parent. If we can prove these signatures and applications were made without your knowledge or Lily's, these debts can be classified as fraud and removed from your credit reports. She began digging deeper that same week, requesting full credit files under both of our social security numbers, using the authorizations I signed. 10 days later, she called me back into her office. There is more, she said, sliding a thick stack of printed pages across the desk. Your mother opened 12 credit cards in Lily's name starting 8 years ago. The total exposure came to $48,700. Some were store cards, some were standard Visa and MasterCard accounts. Minimum payments had been made automatically from the joint checking account until it was completely drained. Collection agencies had already started calling Lily's phone. I stared at the list. Department stores, gas cards, even a jewelry account with a $10,000 balance, all in Lily's name, all tied to her social security number. None of it anything she had ever applied for or even mentioned. Laura continued. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act and Colorado's identity theft statute, Lily can file an FTC affidavit and a police report to have these accounts removed. The same applies to the student loan refinance your mother took out in your name when you were 18. She paused, then looked directly at me. But someone has to initiate it. That evening, Lily showed up at my apartment without warning. She stood in the hallway, clutching her phone, her eyes red and swollen. The bank will not stop calling, she whispered. They say I owe $48,000. Claire, I have never even applied for half of these cards. What is this? I let her inside, sat her down on the couch and explained everything Laura had uncovered. For the first time since the funeral, Lily listened without defending Mom. She cried quietly as I showed her the statements page after page. I can help you file the fraud claims, I said. Laura already has the forms. We do it together. We get this removed from your credit, and we stop the collectors. She nodded and wiped her face. Okay. I will come to the office tomorrow. For the first time in weeks, I felt something close to relief. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Ethan's name. Without thinking, she answered on speaker. Lily told him everything in a shaky voice. I heard Ethan's response loud and clear. She is lying to you, Lily. This is exactly what she wants. She is trying to scare you into helping her take the house. Mom would never do that to you. Think about it. Claire is the only one who benefits if we turn on each other. Lily's eyes flicked toward me. Doubt crept back in. Ethan, these are real statements, she said. Forged, he snapped. Or taken out of context. You know how Claire has always hated that Mom and I were close. She is doing this to punish us. The call lasted maybe 3 minutes. It destroyed everything. When Lily hung up, the fear in her eyes had turned cold. You planned this, she said. You waited until they started calling me, then you offered to save me so I would be on your side against Ethan. That is not what happened, I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. These debts are real. They will destroy your credit if we do not act, I said. She stood up and grabbed her purse. Ethan says we should get our own lawyer, someone who is not trying to steal what Mom left us. Lily, please no. She cut me off at the door. You wanted me to see how bad Mom was. Well, congratulations. Now I see how far you will go to win. The door slammed. I stood alone in the empty living room. The stack of fraud affidavit forms still sat on the coffee table untouched. The next morning I went back to Laura's office alone. File everything I told her. Identity theft claims for both me and Lily, even if she refuses to sign. Petition the probate court to declare the fraudulent debts non-estate obligations and request a hearing on the house before foreclosure begins. I am done waiting for them to wake up. Laura nodded, already pulling up forms. This will force everything into the open. Ethan and Lily will have to respond or default. Are you sure? I thought about the house I grew up in, about my mother's handwriting begging me to protect Ethan, about Lily's face shifting from fear to anger in the span of one phone call. I am sure, I said. She started typing the petition that afternoon. Later that night, Lily's phone rang in her apartment as another collector left a voicemail about a past-due jewelry account. She sat on the kitchen floor, phone in her hand, pale as paper, watching the screen light up again and again. She stared at Ethan's last text. Do not trust her. We will fix this together. Then she looked at the caller identification again. Another unknown number, another debt collector. For the first time, doubt flickered across her face, but she did not call me. Instead, she forwarded the voicemail to Ethan and typed one sentence. What do we do now? The El Paso County Combined Courts building sits on East Kiowa Street, less than 10 minutes from my apartment. I arrived early, dressed in the only navy suit I still owned from my old corporate days. Laura met me in the lobby carrying a thick binder and a calm smile that did nothing to settle the storm in my stomach. Inside courtroom 3, the air smelled of old wood and tension. Ethan and Lily sat at the opposite table with their attorney, a gray-haired man in an expensive suit who leaned close and whispered to Ethan. They never looked at me once. The judge, the Honorable Margaret Chen, entered the courtroom and called the case. In the matter of the estate of Helen Hartman, probate number 2, 4PR30214, Laura rose first. She presented a clear and methodical petition requesting that certain debts be declared fraudulent under Colorado Revised Statutes 61713 and excluded from estate liability. She also requested supervised administration due to conflicting claims regarding the residents. Opposing counsel responded immediately. He argued that all debts were legitimate marital and parental obligations, that Helen had simply managed the family finances privately, and that I was an estranged daughter, using the court to punish siblings who had remained close to the decedent. Then the witnesses were called. Ethan took the stand first. He wore the same dark suit from our mother's funeral, the tie perfectly knotted, as if precision could substitute for truth. Under oath, he painted a picture I barely recognized. Claire moved away right after college, he said evenly. She rarely visited. After her divorce 5 years ago, she became increasingly bitter. She is unstable. She lost multiple jobs. She isolated herself from the family. These accusations only began after Mom died, and she realized there might not be as much money as she hoped. He did not look at me when he spoke. She is trying to destroy our mother's reputation to gain control of the house. Laura's cross-examination was gentle but surgical. She placed the credit card applications on the screen. Accounts opened in Lily's name, all bearing our mother's handwriting. She followed with the student loan refinance taken out in my name when I was 18. Ethan dismissed them with a shrug. "Mistakes," he said. "Or protective measures Mom took for us." He said it calmly, confidently. As if rewriting reality under oath was just another family habit, Lily followed. She looked smaller than I remembered, clutching a tissue in both hands. She testified that Mom had always been generous, that any secret accounts were probably meant as surprises, and that I had been angry at the world since my marriage ended. When Laura asked whether she had ever applied for the 12 credit cards totaling nearly $50,000, Lily shook her head as tears spilled down her face. "I never saw those," she whispered. "But Mom would never hurt me on purpose." Their attorney leaned heavily on Colorado community property principles during marriage, and the presumption that debts incurred during life benefit the family. He argued that the home refinances paid household bills and medical expenses after Dad died. Laura responded with facts. She presented forensic accounting reports, handwriting analysis confirming our mother's signatures on fraudulent applications, bank records showing the loan proceeds funneled into personal brokerage accounts not used for household expenses. She entered Mom's letter into evidence not for its statements about Ethan's sensitivity but to prove that Mom knowingly concealed the activity. "I never took the stand. Laura said my presence in the courtroom was enough. Anything I said would only give them more to twist." The gallery held maybe 10 people, mostly court staff. One reporter from the Gazette. My siblings never looked at me. I sat behind Laura with my hands folded in my lap, feeling the distance between us stretch into miles with every sentence spoken aloud. Closing arguments were brief. Their lawyer asked the court to uphold the will as written and dismiss my claims as vindictive. Laura asked for simple justice, to relieve innocent children from debts they never agreed to and never benefited from. After a short recess, Judge Chen returned to the bench. She adjusted her glasses and spoke in a measured tone that carried through the courtroom. "Having reviewed the exhibits, the testimony, and the applicable law, this court finds clear and convincing evidence of identity theft, with regard to credit accounts opened in the names of Claire Hartman and Lily Hartman without their knowledge or consent. Those obligations are hereby declared fraudulent and non-estate debts pursuant to Colorado revised statutes. The petitioners Claire Hartman and Lily Hartman are relieved of all personal liability." She paused. Ethan shifted in his seat. Lily's hands tightened on the edge of the table. However, the judge continued, the 3 home equity lines of credit were executed solely by the decedent Helen Hartman during her lifetime. While the court sympathizes with the children's position, Colorado law holds that validly executed liens against real property survive the borrower's death and must be satisfied from the estate. Accordingly, the residence located at 1427 Pine Ridge Road shall be sold at public auction under supervised administration. Proceeds shall be used to satisfy the valid secured debts first, with any remainder divided according to the decedent's will. The gavel came down once, sharp. Final. Laura turned toward me and gave the smallest nod. We had won the fraud case, but the house, our house, was gone. People began gathering their files. Chairs scraped softly against the floor. Ethan stood, smoothed his jacket, and walked past my table without stopping. As he passed behind me, he leaned in just enough for his words to reach only my ears. "No matter what that judge says, Mom was still the best mother in the world, and you will never understand that." He kept walking. Lily followed him, her eyes fixed on the floor, never once looking back. I remained seated long after the courtroom emptied, staring at the space where they had been feeling the final thread between us, stretched tight. And then, snap. For good. The brick house sold at auction faster than anyone expected. A young couple from Denver bought the house for just over the remaining loan balance. They were excited about the quiet street and the mountain views from the back deck. On a gray morning, I signed the closing papers in Laura's office, my pen scratching across line after line until the deed no longer carried the Hartman name. My share after the valid liens were paid and probate fees deducted came to $23,000, enough to clear the remaining collection penalties tied to the fraudulent accounts and leave a small cushion in a new checking account. Nothing more. I found a one-bedroom apartment in Rock Rimmon north of the city near the Air Force Academy, with windows that faced the foothills. The moving truck held exactly 12 boxes: books, clothes, a few dishes. And the childhood photo I had rescued the night Ethan shut the door on me. Everything else, the furniture Mom had chosen, the holiday decorations we once hung together, stayed with the house or went into Ethan and Lily's storage unit. The first night in the new place, I sat on the floor eating takeout and listened to the unfamiliar quiet. No creaking stairs. No television murmuring from Mom's old room. No Ethan laughing at something in the basement. Just the low hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of the highway. They never reached out. Not a text, not an email, not even a forwarded utility bill. Through a mutual acquaintance, I heard that Ethan and Lily held a small memorial gathering on the first anniversary of Mom's death. They served catered sandwiches in the backyard of a house they no longer owned, raising toasts to the mother they insisted had done nothing but protect them. My name came up. The second year passed the same way. I saw Lily once at Garden of the Gods. She was pushing a stroller, her toddler bundled inside. Our eyes met across the parking lot. She looked away immediately, tightened her grip on the handle, and walked faster toward the red rock formations. I stood beside my car until she disappeared around the bend. Ethan changed jobs and moved to a new firm downtown. His LinkedIn page glowed with promotions and smiling team photos. Lily posted family pictures on social media. Birthdays, vacations. Always smiling. Always just the two of them with their growing families. If they ever spoke of me, no one told me. I paid my bills on time. I rebuilt my credit one careful step at a time. I took a part-time job at the library on Academy Boulevard just to stay busy. The apartment filled slowly. A second-hand couch. A small table. Plants on the windowsill that actually survived. I learned my neighbors' names. I joined a hiking group that met on Saturday mornings. I let the silence become something I chose instead of something forced on me. One afternoon, 3 years after the gavel fell, the mail carrier left a single envelope in my box. No return address. Just my name written in Lily's careful handwriting, the same script that used to leave notes on my bedroom door when we were kids. I carried it inside and opened it with a butter knife. A plain white card, one sentence in black ink. Do not ever contact us again. To us, you ceased to exist the day Mom died. Nothing else, no signature, no explanation. I set the card on the counter and stared at it for a long time. Then I opened a drawer, slipped it between utility bills and takeout menus, and closed the drawer. That night I cooked dinner for one. I poured a glass of wine and raised it toward the empty chair across the table. To final answers I said out loud. The years kept moving forward. Ethan and Lily built lives that looked perfect from the outside. I built one that was quiet, honest, and entirely mine. And not one of us ever looked back. 3 years after the gavel fell on a quiet Thursday afternoon, I found myself driving south on Nevada Avenue without planning to. The old bank branch appeared on my right, exactly where it had always been. I pulled into the parking lot, turned off the engine, and sat there for a moment, watching customers come and go through the glass doors. Something pulled me inside. The lobby looked smaller than I remembered. A young teller greeted me with a practiced smile. I told her I wanted to open a new savings account. High yield, individual ownership only. No joint holders, no beneficiaries, no authorized users. She walked me through the forms, asked for 2 forms of identification, and typed everything into the system. 10 minutes later, she slid a crisp folder across the counter. A new account number, a new debit card. I signed my name, Claire Hartman, in bold, steady letters. Not on the way out. Not as an ending. As a beginning. When she asked if I wanted to make an initial deposit, I transferred $25,000 from the account I had quietly built since the probate check cleared. Money earned from the library job. From freelance editing work. From every overtime hour I could take. Money that belonged to no one but me. The teller handed me the receipt and asked if there was anything else she could help with today. That is all I said. Thank you. I stepped back into the late afternoon sun, feeling lighter than I had in years. On the drive north, I took the long way past the exit for Pine Ridge Road, where the brick house used to stand. A new family lived there now. I had seen their Christmas lights the December before. I did not slow down. At home, I poured a glass of water. No wine tonight. I stood at the window and watched the sun sink behind the front range. The apartment was small, but every inch of it was mine. Bookshelves I chose myself. Plants that thrived because no one else decided when they were watered. A calendar filled with plans that belonged only to me. I thought about the envelope that started everything. The key, the letter, the courtroom, the slammed doors, the single hateful card from Lily. I thought about my mother's Thursday disappearances and how they shaped an entire lifetime of secrets. And for the first time, none of it hurt. Cutting them out was not punishment, it was surgery. Clean, necessary, final. Blood does not always mean family, and love is not a contract that forces you to swallow poison forever. I set boundaries not because I stopped loving them, but because I finally started loving myself more. If you are hearing this, and you recognize the pattern, if someone in your life disappears every week to handle things, if accounts appear in your name that you never opened, pay attention. If telling the truth gets you labeled selfish or unstable, listen carefully. Trust documents, not the stories people tell to keep you quiet. Ask for statements. Pull your own credit report. Speak to a lawyer before you are the one left holding the wreckage. Family is supposed to protect you, not bankrupt you and then blame you for noticing. Some ties are chains disguised as love. Cutting them does not make you the villain. It makes you free. I finished the water, rinsed the glass, and set it in the drying rack. Outside, the Thursday sky turned deep orange over the mountains. I smiled, locked the door behind me, and stepped into the evening, no longer waiting for anyone to come home. Because the only future I am securing now is mine.